if it is indeed correct that these players don't look international ready, then I'm really sad because I was excited about these players thinking they were internationally ready. Now, it's hard. We have, you know what it's like, Jimmy. There's players that aren't always great in training. Now, they can be sharp, they can be intense, but it's not. Sometimes there's players that just don't stand out in training. There's nerves. There's all kinds of things that happen in. Again, a bigger sample size than they usually have, so they're not going to get a game in qualifying, like you said. But if that is the case, if these players are not internationally ready in terms of the roster that they put out, they looked ready, the players you put in at the end of the game. They looked urgent. They looked excited. They looked ready. So I'm stuck between this idea of them not being ready, and then you put in some young guys at the end that show they're clearly ready. Again, I know who we're playing against. I know the circumstances. I know we're up a player. But when you go up that and you say, oh, I don't know if these players are really ready, you're going to give them 15 minutes at the end. Why not give them a half? Why not give them a half?
Dude, listen. I don't understand. Like, I understand starting the guys with some experience to start, but then every 30
that many guys not that many.
There was too many. Like I said at the beginning, maybe you could have sprinkled in some younger players. You want to get Pepi going, right? And I think maybe if he scores, they probably would have pulled him out a little bit earlier at halftime. He doesn't score. You probably knew going in Jordan Morse was going to get 75 minutes. Okay, that's fine. We got to get Pepi back on the Pepi train. We needed him going choo-choo. We need to get him going and the hype going, and I want to build his confidence. Ferreira, okay, let's give him a good 45 minutes. Tell him he's getting 45 minutes. Go run your balls off, and then let's see what happens. Yeah. And then the central midfield, like Roldan and Acosta don't need to be out there for 90 minutes. That's a joke. And I feel like that was an opportunity where you could have given one 30 minutes, another one 45, and you kind of stagger your young players to come in. So they start off with an experienced player, and then you just passing the baton on to the next younger player. And then when that younger player has been on for 15 minutes and feels settled, the next younger player comes on. You could have done it in waves, man. We could have done like hockey lines. Scoring line 2 could have come in.
Even if Gregg Berhalter's focus of this game was, I need to get my guys who are contributing to my World Cup qualifying campaign more minutes because I need them to stay sharp because we're going to head into the end of January. I need them to get these minutes. It's really, really important. That's fine.
That game's in 5 weeks, dude.
Yeah, but say that was the case. You still went up a player in the 40th minute. And therefore, you should be able to look at it and you go, you know what? This is a wash. I want to see something else now. Can I put my head up and say, there's something else I can get out of this game? Because I'm not going to get the fitness out of these guys. I'm not going to get a look at these guys. I'm not going to get whatever. I can get a look at some young players to get them more minutes than I expected to because the circumstances have changed. Is that not an acceptable reaction to going into the halftime being like, oh, I know we're going to give you 60, but things change, or I know we're going to give you 75, whatever. We're going to go with something different?
I was sitting on my couch, comfortably watching this game, going, okay, all right, he plays a lot of experienced guys. We're going to see some changes at halftime. I'm telling my kids, it's fine. We're going to see some kids that are about your age, kids. You know what I mean? Or just a couple years older than you. They're going to be on the field. It's going to be awesome. And it's something for you to aspire to, and it's going to be great. And no changes at halftime. And then in 30 minutes, his first 3 subs includes Jossie Zardes. And I was like, I almost got out of the room and walked. I was like, what are we doing? I wasn't going Taylor Twellman full tilt. What are we doing? Right? Not qualifying for a World Cup. But this is a great exercise for us to just see what the kids are about. And it's not even that, who cares about the Twitter, vacuum, the echo chamber that's Twitter. Like, even me out there, even me saying, play the kids. You don't have to appease us. That's not what it's about. But I just don't know when we're going to see these kids for the next year. We're not going to see them until the January camp that happens after the World Cup. So maybe they're not ready now, but why not just give us a taste? Maybe you never know. You might get to unearth. Listen, we had Brendan Aronson not necessarily outside of the picture, but because Gio was hurt, because Christian Pulisic was hurt, he had to play, and he stepped up to the plate because he got that opportunity. If we don't give these opportunities to these kids, 45 minutes in a meaningless game against Bosnia, but we're going with Jossie Zardes instead. What? I need to go lay down. I don't understand. I don't, there's nothing really Gregg could say. I mean, we would be like, okay, yeah, sure, because we're friends with him and we're like, okay, we take it. But if we talk to him critically, like, why would you not try some of these players? I'm not saying all of them all at once, but why not a few more and give them more time?
Yeah. If you're watching this, by the way, make sure you send those comments in and like this video. It helps more people get in on the conversation. We want to grow this community and make sure people have an opportunity to say their piece. Jimmy and I like to take to become a human punching bag from time to time. So let us know if you think that we're out of line, if we're crazy, or if you agree with our comments. But make sure that you like that because this will get it in the algorithm, send it to more people. So we appreciate all of you joining in on this conversation. So keep those comments going, Jimmy.
Keep them coming.
final thoughts, right, on Gregg, and then we'll move on to the next thing. I feel like there's still I feel there's more I can extract out of you. Do you think this is? We've seen Gregg do so many things overall, right? And somehow, right at the 11th hour, he always figures it out. And going back to Honduras, he figures it out at halftime, right? We make the changes, we see everything happen. Team gets motivated, we go. We've seen the ebb and flow of qualifying, and then you have this friendly. We call them the useless friendlies, right? And
I don't think they're useless. I'll take that word out of there.
Yeah,
but
you said it twice. You said it twice earlier.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. That's how I kind of.
I say we call them useless friendlies because that's what everybody calls them.
Sure.
They're called
I think they're very useful, actually.
Meaningless friendlies.
Useful. I think they're useful because we can figure out the pretenders from the contenders. Yeah. That's all. I think it's a good place.
Let me ask you this then. What is more important for Gregg, the staff, the national team? Is it the chance to get these players in for a couple of weeks in a camp, or the match itself? Because it seems like they used that 2 weeks to make the decision on this match. But how much of it is about like an assessment of your players over the training versus like getting those players minutes to see how they do in a game?
I actually think that the main point of emphasis in this game was to get Jordan Morris 75 minutes. That is it.
That was the whole game.
Honestly, I think they're looking
for a game to get Jordan Morris minutes.
I think they're getting. Honestly, I think that was one of the prime objectives, was to make sure that Jordan Morris came out of that feeling better, getting meaningful minutes, running at players, getting him confidence, because I think he's a player that they actually look at as someone who's going to help us. With regard to your point, it's a good one. I think that being around this group of players for 2 weeks is very important. You and I have used that to our advantage, and it's clear that maybe some of these players have it in the same type of way. And because if you can't get minutes in this game, you're probably not going to get minutes in the foreseeable future, as we discussed. Right. So I do think there's value in both sides. I don't think there's anything useless or meaningless about this. On paper, of course, it feels meaningless, and it is in a lot of different ways. But it is meaningful with regard to the points that you're making, that Gregg gets to get a better understanding of players that he just gets to see on TV or get to see at a game in person, but doesn't really get to be around them. And as you know, that helps, because as you're building a team, I would say more often than not, these players I never had a chance to start for our first team, but could they be that 22nd, 23rd guy on the team that has these intangibles that can raise the level either of training or of the mood in the locker room, or just has that little something special, those intangibles that could separate them from somebody else. And I guess that's yet to be determined.